listeners, gather close. This is Mr. Horror Global. Tonight's story comes from a woman I'll call Rachel, who finally landed her first real job and a brand new apartment, and slowly began to notice something deeply wrong about the room next door. Viewer discretion advised. The room next door. It happened to a woman about 20 years ago, back in 2006, when phones still flipped open and there was a payphone on every other corner. I heard it secondhand, and I'll leave out exactly how it reached me, because some of the people in this story are still out there, so just take it as true and let me tell it. I'll call her Rachel. She was in her mid-20s. She'd finished a 2-year college and drifted through part-time jobs, and she'd reached the age where part-time work starts to feel like quicksand, so she was trying hard to land something permanent, a real job, an office, a desk. And then a friend came to her with good news. A girl she'd known since high school. I'll call her Lauren. Lauren told her there was an opening somewhere, a nice, easy office job, and that Rachel should apply. It's a total cushy spot, she said. Just send them your resume. What have you got to lose? So Rachel emailed her resume in, figuring nothing would come of it. A little while later, they called her back. They wanted an interview. She went, she interviewed, and she got it. And the job really was easy. The pay wasn't much, but the work was light, the kind of place where you're comfortable. Later, she'd realized that one of the biggest reasons they'd hired her at all was that she owned her own car. The company sat out on the edge of town, maybe 15 or 20 minutes from the city center. Closer in toward downtown, there was a lively district full of bars and shops. Rachel's old place was too far from all of it, so she started looking for somewhere new. The downtown studios were beautiful, but the rent was brutal, more than her modest paycheck could carry. When she mentioned this, Lauren had a suggestion. Don't bother with downtown, she said. Go to the agent near the office and get a place close to work. It's a 15-minute drive either way, and you don't even drink that much. Why pay double to be near the bars? It made sense, so Rachel went to the real estate agent near the company and asked what was available. He showed her several studios scattered around the area. Some were honestly run down, cheap but grim, and then he showed her one that stopped her. It was an unusual little building. The ground floor was commercial, offices already leased and occupied. The second and third floors were studio apartments. From the outside, you could tell it was almost brand new, and inside the unit was spotless. Nobody had ever lived in it. A new washing machine, a built-in display cabinet, and a flat-screen television, one of the thin ones, which in 2006 felt like the height of luxury. It's nice, she said. How much? The deposit and the rent were a touch more than she'd been paying, enough to give her pause given her salary. But the quality of life was a different planet. So she thought it over, called the agent back, asked if the new building still had units, and told him she'd take it. To shave a little off the rent, she took the third floor, the very end unit, up the stairs and all the way down. End units can run cold in winter, but the building was new, so she figured she'd be fine. And there was no apartment on the other side of her. Quiet. She moved her things in. The room was big for a studio. The veranda was its own separate space, and she loved it. You have to understand, this was the first time in her life she'd had a real job and a real place like this. Up till then, it had been part-time work and getting by. Now she felt like one of those career women from a television drama. She decorated, she settled in, and because she didn't go out drinking much, she spent most of her time at home, in that room. She lived like that, happy, for about 8 or 9 months, and then things started to feel off. The first strange thing was small. Say the stove broke. Normally you'd call the landlady, tell her something's wrong, ask her to send someone. But more than once, before Rachel had called anyone, the landlady would just happen to come by, ask if something was wrong, and have it fixed, as if she already knew. It happened enough times that Rachel noticed it and thought, that's odd. But the thing that really got under her skin was the room next door. Not noise. Nobody was being loud. It was something else, and the first time she felt it was a night she'd been lying in the dark with the lights off. She and her boyfriend had been fighting badly. They were on the edge of breaking up, and her head was full, so she wasn't asleep, just lying there with her eyes closed, thinking. And after a while, she heard the door of the room next to hers open. A little electronic chirp, the door swinging, then clunking shut. Footsteps leaving. Well, fine, someone lives next door. People go out. She never heard them come back, even though it was very late, but it wasn't her business. Then she and her boyfriend did break up, and on those raw nights she'd turn off the light and lie there a long time before sleep finally took her. And every single time, a little while after the lights went off, the door next door would open. It got so regular it started to feel like a rule, like a formula, and that's when it stopped being nothing. One night, lying there, she heard the chirp again, right on schedule, and she shot up out of bed, ran to her door, and yanked it open. Now you can imagine the racket she made getting up and pounding across the floor. And out in the hallway, she heard running, someone running away. That's odd, she thought. That is really odd. The next day she called the landlady. I'm in 306, she said. Can I ask who lives in 305? Just an office worker. Why? Do they work nights? I wouldn't know that. Why are they being loud? No, it's nothing. Never mind. And she hung up, because what was she going to say? That every time she fell asleep, the person next door went out? It sounded insane even to her. But it nagged at her, and she started turning it over. How would they even know whether I'm asleep? And she began to test it. Her first thought was the window. Maybe when my light goes off, they can see it, and that's the signal. So one night she switched off the light, but stayed sitting up, awake, scrolling on her phone, one of those flip phones that turns sideways, and the door next door didn't open. Nothing. She thought, I'm imagining all of this. I'm too sensitive. She put the phone down, lay there a while, still nothing, and then, almost asleep, after an hour and a half of silence, chirp, the door next door opened. It was past 4 in the morning. Was it a coincidence? She thought. Maybe after I came charging out that one time, they're being careful, watching for me. So she let a week go by before trying again. A week later, lights off, sitting up, no sound. Then she set the phone down, lay flat, and this time she faked it. She made the soft little breathing sound of someone drifting off, a gentle snore, and the instant she did it, chirp, the door next door, her whole body went cold. That was no coincidence. She tried it again the next night, and again the moment the sound left her mouth, the lock chirped and the door opened. It was not a coincidence. Someone next door knew when she was asleep, but how? How could they possibly know through a wall? So she did something. She went to a shop and had heavy blackout curtains made and hung, the kind you cannot see a thing through. She drew them all the way, and because of the layout of the studio, there was no window at all on the hallway side. Good, she thought. Now no one can see my light. No one can tell from outside whether I'm awake or asleep. And they still knew. She ran the test again, more than once, and every time she started to snore, the door next door opened. So it wasn't the curtains, it wasn't light leaking out, which left only one thing. They weren't watching her window, they were watching inside her room. In daylight, she stood down on the street and looked up at the next door window. Curtains drawn, nothing to see. She went up and pressed her ear to their door. Not a sound, no sign of life. Then she went into her own place and searched it, inch by inch. A camera, she thought. There has to be a camera. She checked everything, even up inside the ventilation grills. Nothing, not a thing. And remember, this is 2006. The tiny hidden cameras we have now didn't really exist yet, not for ordinary people. She couldn't do this alone anymore, so she called a guy she knew. I'll call him Kevin, who worked for an interior contractor. Not the boss, one of the crew, but he knew walls. He knew how buildings were put together. "Hey, it's Rachel," she said. "You got some time? Could you come over and take a look at something for me?" "What, an interior thing?" "No, I'll explain when you get here. Just make some time, please." "All right, let's meet after I get off work." They met around 7 at a restaurant near her place, and she told him everything over dinner. All the tests, everything she'd tried, and how she'd become sure that somehow, by some route she couldn't find, someone was watching her room. "You'll see it," she said. "You'll know what I'm missing." Kevin thought about it. "If you're right," he said, "if they're really watching, then the second I walk in there at this hour, they'll know something's up. Let's at least check. Is the light on next door?" It was off, so they went up. On the way, Kevin told her, "When we're inside, don't let on. Don't say any of this out loud. I'm your cousin dropping by, that's all. Talk to me like that the whole time, just in case." So he played the cousin who'd come to visit, wandering the place, looking around, and when he stepped out to say goodbye in the hall, he told her, quietly, that he couldn't be sure from one quick look. A couple of spots bothered him, and he asked the real question, "When is this person actually there?" "I don't know when they're there," Rachel said, "but I know when they leave. They leave when I snore." "Then go to bed early tonight," he said, and, this was good of him, he went and waited in his car. Around 10, earlier than usual, she lay down and did her little fake snore, and before 11, the lock chirped and the door next door opened. She called him. "Someone just left. Do you see anyone come out of the building?" "No, nobody's come out." "Are you sure? The door just opened." "I'm watching the only exit. Nobody's come out. Give it 5 more minutes." 5 minutes later, still no one. And no one had gone back into the next room either. Whoever opened that door hadn't left the building and hadn't come back. He came up to her room. Curtains drawn, lights on. Kevin went over the place properly this time, knocking on walls with his knuckles, tapping, listening. The outer walls gave back that dull, solid thud. Concrete, real wall. He worked his way along, tapping, and then he reached the spot beside the built-in display cabinet, and the sound changed. A hollow knock, a partition wall. "Hear that, Rachel?" He rapped the solid wall, then the hollow one. "Hear how it changes? That's a false wall, and that's strange." He frowned at the cabinet. "This thing is anchor bolted to the wall, bolted in so it can't be moved. There's no reason to do that here. None. This whole spot bothers me." They looked at the cabinet. Wooden frame, glass shelves, and the panel at the back, the part flush against the wall, was a mirror. Kevin nodded at it. "If we can't pull the cabinet off the wall," he said, "then the next best thing would be to break that mirror and see what's behind it." Rachel stared at it. "How do I even do that?" "Leave that part to you," he said. Anything else feel wrong to you? He thought. Out on the veranda where your washing machine sits, the wall behind it, in a place like this that's usually just a partition, you could put a hammer through it, but there's a gap back there too. I'd be careful with that wall as well. Then he caught himself. Look, you've been steering me toward this, and maybe I'm just reading into it because of that. I could be wrong. You decide. And his honest first piece of advice was simple. Move out. Get out of here. She thanked him. It was late, he'd been good to her, and saw him off. Then she sat there. She called a few friends, told them the whole thing, asked them what she should do, move, or was she losing her mind? Talking it out got her nowhere, but sitting there a new thought surfaced, and it chilled her more than anything yet. When I fall asleep, this person goes out, so when do they come in? She had never once heard that door come in, never heard footsteps arrive, only leave. So she made a plan. She called in sick to work and took the day. That night she pretended to go to sleep, heard the person leave, and then she slipped out, drove her car somewhere out of sight, and came back up. Now she figured, if this person looked out and saw her car gone, they'd assume she'd left for work. She normally got home between 6 and 7. At about 10 to 6, the lock next door chirped, and the door opened and somebody came in, and she heard the small sounds of someone moving around, putting things in order, and it sounded close. It sounded like it was happening right beside her, not through any thick wall. So she said it out loud. Some pervert keeps watching me, doesn't he? Rustling. And then, all at once, dead silence. What? She froze. So there is someone there? But if they'd really been watching, they'd have known she was home. It didn't add up, and it terrified her. She couldn't sleep there. She left, stayed at a friend's, went to work, and waited for the weekend. On the weekend, she came back with a hammer in her hand. She started on the mirror behind the cabinet. The lowest panel, she broke it. Solid wall behind. The next one up, broke it. Blocked. Then the third, the 1 second from the top, right about at the eye level of a grown man standing up. She hit it and it shattered, and behind that one there was no wall. There was open space, a hole. She shined a light through it, and there was nothing. No furniture, no life. The room next door, the room she'd believed someone was living in for the better part of a year. Nobody lived there. This is real, she thought. This is actually real. There was a madman next door. She remembered what Kevin had said. She shoved the washing machine aside and swung the hammer at the wall behind it. It came down easily, almost too easily. He'd mentioned that had something to do with fire code construction, and she climbed through into the room next door. It was illegal what she was doing, she knew that, but she could not have stood not knowing. Inside, the next door unit wasn't even finished, bare, not so much as wallpaper on the walls, and there, lined up exactly with her display cabinet, was a frame, a little rig, built precisely so that someone standing here could look straight through into her room. The sound carried clean. Someone had constructed a hide to watch her. So some sick stranger had been watching her room. Pack up, she told herself. Get out, go report this. You cannot be here another night. And she started throwing her important things into bags, fast, just the essentials, ready to run downstairs and call the police, call anyone. And then, chirp, 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 the lock on the room next door, the door opening. At this hour, her stomach dropped. What do I do? But the door, the instant it opened, slammed shut again, and then a long scraping, rolling sound, down somewhere, a sound she couldn't place, and then knock, 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 on her own door, someone knocking on her room. She went still, held her breath. Knock, knock, knock again. She didn't move, didn't make a sound, like no one was home. And then the knocking changed to a different sound, and then she heard the door of the next room open, and footsteps, slow, heavy, deliberate. He was coming in through the breach. She had crouched down and pressed herself into one corner, because she knew now, the cabinet, the mirror, it let him see her. The footsteps came across the next room and stopped, right in front of where the cabinet stood. He seemed to be looking. Then the footsteps moved off toward the washing machine, toward the second hole, the one she'd opened, and she understood. He's going to come over to my side now. The moment his footsteps reached the washing machine, she ran, out across her room, threw open her own front door, and there it was, that scraping, rolling sound from before. A roll-down security shutter had come down over her entrance. She had never even known the thing existed. She'd never once seen it. And now it sealed her in. She couldn't get out. She turned around, and there was a man looking at her, smiling, a wide, delighted smile. Hands shaking, she fumbled her phone open, and he was on her in a second, snatched it out of her hand, and dropped it into his own pocket. "Help!" she screamed. "Somebody help me! Help!" He just smiled. "No one can hear you," he said, "and even if they could, no one would care." "What are you? What are you, you sick freak, you pervert?" She was screaming, crying. "I'm so sad," he said. "What are you talking about, you lunatic? How can you not even remember me?" She was so stunned she could barely speak. She begged him to let her go, twisted to get free. He took her by the shoulders. "Look at me. Really look. How can you not remember? I followed you for 3 years because I loved you. How can you not know who I am? I have never seen you in my life. I don't know what you're talking about. Look closer. 3 years. I followed you for 3 years. How do you not know me?" And he told her, about 3.5 years ago, she'd gone out to a nightclub with friends. He had been one of the waiters there, the guys who work the floor, pull in tables, run the place. The clubs back then had raffles. You'd write your number on a slip, and if you won, you got a free bottle, a free table. She dropped her number in, and he had called her a few times, wanted to take her to dinner, said he was crazy about her, and she turned him down, and then she'd forgotten he existed completely. He had never appeared in her life again, not once, until now. And listening to all of this, she understood she was standing in front of someone genuinely, dangerously insane. "Okay," she said. "Okay, I get it. Now let me out. What are you doing? Let me go." "I can't let you go anymore," he said. "Just stay here. Stay with me. If you let me out of here, I am going straight to the police. People like you should rot in prison and die there." And he answered her by reciting things. Her town, her street, her address, the house number, her father's name, her mother's name. Her parents farmed out in the countryside, and he knew it. "You know," he said, "every holiday I used to send them lovely gift boxes, premium ones. What a shame it would be if I sent them something they couldn't eat." "What do you want from me?" she said. "What is it you want, that you'd threaten my mother and father like this? Just go out with me." She thought fast. "All right," she said, "then give me time to think. Let me think it over and I'll tell you. How am I supposed to stand here and tell you I'll be your girlfriend, just like that, right now?" And that was the wrong thing to say. Something behind his eyes turned over. "Someone like you," he hissed, "who wouldn't smile, who never once called me back to meet me." And he was screaming now, the whole thing coming apart. He stamped across the room into her kitchen and came back with a knife. "Then die," he said. "If you want to meet me in death, come find me. People like you are all the same, rotten. I'll see for myself this time. You think you can size me up and play games?" And he came at her with the knife. A woman against that, there was nothing she could do with strength. She bolted back through into the empty room he'd come from, slammed the door, and locked it with the digital keypad, chirp. But of course he knew the code. The thing about those locks is, when you punch in the code, a little dial turns on the inside to draw the bolt. So she grabbed the dial with her hand and held it, so the motor couldn't turn it, so the door couldn't open. And he didn't even bother with the code. He just ran back across the room toward the washing machine breach, because there were two ways between those rooms now, and she could only block one. She let go, forced the lever, scrambled back through the other way, and the two of them started going in circles, through the cabinet, around, through the washing machine, around, and there was no way out of any of it because that shutter was down over the only door. There was exactly one choice left, and she knew it. The window. She had to go out the window. 3rd floor. For a woman jumping 3 floors is high. People say 3rd floor, like it's nothing, like of course you could jump that. But that is a height that can kill you. She went around one more time, and she went out the window, and somehow she hit and rolled and got up. When a person is cornered like that, they say you don't really feel the pain. Her car key was in her pocket. She got to her car, started it, and drove, got out of there, off that street, gone. But her phone was in his pocket. In 2006, there were still payphones everywhere, so she was driving toward the bright part of town looking for one, and behind her a car came up fast and started chasing her hard. She floored it, screaming toward the lights and the crowds, and the car stayed on her for a while and then, near the busy streets, gave up and fell back. She reported it, all of it. The police took her under their protection, of course. They wanted to go with her to her place. She said she couldn't, she was too frightened. Would they please just go and check? They went, they looked it over, and they called her back. They wanted to know, this person who'd been next door, who was he? What was his name? She told them about the nightclub, and they said they'd look into it, and meanwhile she should stay somewhere safe, her parents' place, a friend's place, while they ran the investigation. So she went to stay with a friend, and the friend she went to was Lauren, the one who told her about the job, who'd sent her to that real estate agent. They were close, not best friends, but close. Rachel called her, half laughing with relief now that she felt safe. "You awful person," she said. "I nearly died because of you." Meaning the apartment, the job, all of it. And Lauren said, "Oh, come and stay at mine." So she went over and told Lauren everything. How the next room had been opened straight through to hers. How she'd never lived through anything so insane in her life. And Lauren said, "God, if you hadn't taken that sick day and run all those tests, what would have happened to you?" It got late. They turned off the lights and lay down together in Lauren's bed, which was a big one, the two of them side by side. What a day, Rachel thought. What a day. And she closed her eyes, and she was just about to drop off when something snagged. She had never told anyone she'd taken a sick day. She hadn't told the police. She didn't think she'd told a single soul she'd called in sick to run that test. So how did Lauren know about the sick day? Lying there in the dark, the cold came over her whole body. She walked it back, piece by piece. I called in sick. I ran the test. And, wait, I never told Lauren that. I never told the police that. I never told my parents that. How does she know? Not from anyone at the company. And anyway, Lauren had always said she only knew about the job from a posting. She'd never even worked there. She stirred and sat up. Lauren said, "Why are you up?" "I'm just going to run to the convenience store, grab something to drink." "What do you need a drink for? Just lie down, go to sleep." "No, you sleep. I'll go get something." "Who goes out at this hour? Aren't you scared? Just lie down." "I said I'm getting a drink. Why are you being weird about it?" And finally Lauren said, "Fine, go then." Rachel got dressed, and Lauren's place was a 2-room, so Rachel stepped out, shut the door behind her, and put her ear against it, and through the door she heard Lauren's voice, low and urgent. "Come quick, hurry. I think she's figured it out." And Rachel ran. She ran from that building and kept running until she felt she was somewhere hidden, somewhere safe, and then, no phone. What do I do? Back to the payphones. She knew almost no one's number by heart, but she dredged up one, another friend she could remember, and called, and thank God, the friend picked up. They met, and on that friend's phone Rachel called Lauren back. "Be honest with me," she said. "Just be honest. What were you trying to do to me? How could you do this to me?" "What are you even talking about?" Lauren said, playing it dead innocent. Total denial. "I heard you on the phone. Come quick. I think she's figured it out. I heard all of it." "That was just me on the phone with some guy. A different guy." "Listen to me. If the police catch this man, and it turns out you called him that night, you're an accomplice. You understand? You'll go down with him." And Lauren went quiet. "Be honest with me. What is happening to me right now?" And Lauren said, "If you stay around, you'll find out everything. I'm really sorry, but I didn't have a choice either." And she hung up first. Rachel had to keep living somehow. She couldn't go back to that office, so she called and told them she wouldn't be returning, that a lot had happened, that she was sorry. Then she went down to her parents' place in the countryside, got a new phone, a new number, and tried to think. And one thing kept gnawing at her, one thing she needed to check, just to know whether her memory was playing tricks. So she called the office and asked for an older woman she'd gotten friendly with there. The money behind the company, she said, not the president, the real backer, the investor, the one with the money. What did you tell me his name was? And the woman gave her a name, Mercer. And Rachel hung up, and she sat very still, and she walked her memory back to that nightclub 3.5 years before, to the waiter who wouldn't stop calling, to the name he'd left with all those messages. Mercer, the investor who had quietly bankrolled a company that hired her into a job that didn't need filling, had the very same name as the waiter. They were brothers. And that's when she understood what she was standing in. The job, the studio, the new building, the empty room with the mirror. None of it had been chance. It had all been built. A stage set up around her, and the person who had walked her onto that stage so smoothly, so naturally, was her own friend. And she kept asking herself the only question that mattered and had no answer. Why me? What did I ever do to this man? What was my crime? The police investigation crawled. It dragged and dragged. She needed them to catch him, to put him away, just so she could breathe, just so she could sleep with both legs stretched out, and her mother and father felt like they were in danger too. She was sitting with all of that when her phone rang. An unknown number. She answered. A woman's voice. Very gentle, very warm. Is this Rachel? Yes. You went through something terrible recently. didn't you?" "Yes. I'm his mother." She couldn't get a word out, and the mother went on, in that same soft voice. "If you just leave the report where it is, stop poking at it, let it lie, we'll make it right with you. We'll see you compensated." "I can't do that," Rachel said. "How am I supposed to live in peace after that?" "Think carefully, dear. Think wisely. It isn't only your mother and father. A whole family can be wiped out. Think wisely. Why should I be the one to go through this? What did I do wrong that this is happening to me?" And the warmth fell away. "Because a little tramp like you went around wagging her tail," the mother said. "My son is suffering like this. If it were up to me, I'd come over there right now and wring your neck. I'm holding myself back. So you'll say yes to what I'm offering, and we'll end this." And Rachel sat there with it. They knew her parents' house. They knew her parents' names. They knew her name. They knew everything. To say, "I don't need you. I'll pull every string I have with the police and the prosecutors and hunt down every one of you." That takes a kind of courage that doesn't come easily. Not when your mother and father are asleep in the next room. So she decided the right move was to end it. "I don't want your money," she said. "Just make sure none of you ever come near me again." "You'll take the money," the mother said. "Money has to change hands, or there's no agreement between us. We'll have a sofa delivered to your house. Take it in. The money will be inside it. And then, we know you're at your mother's place. We know exactly where you are." And Rachel said all right and hung up. After that, she went to Kevin, the interior guy, the one she'd come to trust through all of it, and she asked him to help her set up one last thing, a face-to-face with Lauren, the friend who had walked her onto the stage. And they met, and it was not calm. There was hair pulling, there were slaps, the two of them screaming and grappling and crying. And through all of it, Lauren told her the truth. Lauren had been at that nightclub too, all those years ago. She dropped her number in the same raffle, and the waiter had gotten hold of it, and he'd come after her. Not romantically. He'd told her that if she could just get Rachel entangled with him, somehow he'd make it worth her while. He'd pay. Because the waiter, it turned out, was not some broke club kid. His family had money. He was a rich man's son, and the company that had hired Rachel into a job that didn't need filling, that was his older brother's company, a Mercer company. The brother had invented a position out of thin air just to drop her into it, and from the empty room next door, the waiter had watched Rachel live her life, every detail of it, top to bottom, for months. That isn't love. That's a sickness. "I'm always with you." That was how he saw it, every night. The way a boyfriend might watch the woman he loves drift off to sleep with soft, fond eyes. That was how he watched her, every single night, through that mirror, until she was asleep. He'd watch her until she went under, and then he'd go down and stay somewhere below, on the floor beneath, and that was his night. Rachel asked her, "Do you love him that much? Was it that?" And Lauren said, "Honestly, I never thought he'd do anything like this. He had money. I thought if I got the two of you together, you'd thank me for it one day. I never imagined it would go this far. I'm so sorry." And that was the end of Lauren. There was no keeping a thing like that. They were finished. 3 years. A man she did not know, did not remember, had spent 3 years and more buying off the people around her, building a stage, and standing right beside her the whole time. She still doesn't know whether he'd watched her in her old place too, before any of this, in the years before the new building, but she's fairly sure he had, that he'd been watching her every move long before she had any idea he existed. And you have to remember when this was. 2006. Phones didn't quietly record your calls for you the way they do now. You couldn't just snap a photo of the evidence. And even if you could, when you're that cornered, your mind doesn't work that way. When she took the hammer to that mirror, she did it half expecting to be the one who got in trouble for it, the one who'd have to pay for the damage. She did it on a hunch, not a certainty, telling herself the whole time, surely it isn't really that. And there were no stalking laws then. None. This was a time when people still said, there's no tree that won't fall if you swing at it 10 times. As if wearing a woman down were just persistence, just romance. Loving someone, that part isn't a crime. Wanting someone isn't a crime. But to sit in an empty room behind a mirror and watch a stranger sleep night after night and smile to yourself while you do it, that is the thing that turns your blood cold. And the part that stays with me isn't even the man behind the wall. It's how many ordinary people around her said yes. The friend, the brother, the mother on the phone, with her gentle, terrible voice. The wall was never the frightening part. The people were.